Smullen, the Director of National Security Studies at Syracuse University and former Chief of Staff under General Colin Powell, joins Christy live in the studio tonight. Christy.
Rod, thank you. And Bill, thank you for joining us. Well, let's start off with the allegations of the president allegedly interfering with a federal investigation and the memo. Let's say there is this memo and it's produced. Is it enough to prove interference with an investigation?
Well, it will definitely allow more information to be gathered to determine whether or not there was obstruction of justice and whether or not we can improve or someone can prove intent. Intent is very difficult to prove. It's going to be a he said, she said situation. But I think the fact that Comey shared these memos with colleagues, close friends, I think and believe they have existed, and that he was doing it to definitely protect himself and protect the investigation that he was pursuing.
Does it appear as Comey has holding all the cards right now?
I think he's in a very powerful position, and I think he's going to be called before the Judiciary Committee, either in the Senate or in the House or both, to explain exactly what happened. So it's going to come down to a question of, was President Trump asking him to stop the investigation of General Flynn because he thought Flynn was too nice a guy to be damaged any further, or that he was trying to conceal something that he didn't want Comey to find out or pursue?
Again, it's that intent that has to be proven, which is difficult to prove, as you said.
It's going to be terribly difficult to prove.
All right. Well, we saw the president today come out swinging, saying he has been the most unfairly treated president, blasting the media today. Your assessment of that?
I think the president's being very naive with regard to how he's being treated. Anything that is said negative about him, he takes personally. Living in Washington is a place where negativity surrounds you wherever you go if you're in a political office at that level. So you just have to toughen yourself and get a thicker skin and accept the fact that everything you say, everything you do is potentially going to be held against you. And if you think that is being unfair, you're not just being honest with yourself.
Yeah, and you were on the inside years ago under Colin Powell. Let's take a look back. Now you're outside looking in. And what would you have to say about the credibility, the Trump White House credibility problem right now?
Credibility is your most important badge of honor to protect. And if it's bruised, if you lose it, you're done. And the president's credibility is important not just to the president. It's important to the American people. It is important to our relationships with allies around the world as to how they view him as a man that they can trust, that they can believe. But I'm hoping that the president will take a cautionary note here and ask himself, what do I need to do to restore the credibility that I think I've damaged a bit?
And we're going to see the president travel overseas in the next couple of days.
Yes.
How do you think that trip will fare? And do you think there could be some difficult relations with, well, let's say Israel?
Well, Israel is not going to be very happy with the fact that the president shared information that they provided the United States that was highly classified, that was given under the cloak of secrecy, and we were asked not to share it with anybody. So the fact that we did was problematic because we violated that trust. But more importantly, the Russians who now have that information can share it with Iran. And Iran is the biggest threat to Israel in that part of the world. The third thing that I think is going to be problematic, not so much with Israel, but all of our allies with whom we have relationships and we share intelligence on a regular basis should be asking themselves, why didn't they share it with us? If they were willing to share it with the Russians, why wouldn't they have shared it with us first?
All right, so we'll be watching that. We'll bring it back home now and look at Wall Street. Took a tumble today. Not surprising?
No, it's not surprising. Anything that happens politically, particularly at that level, particularly this volatile, is going to have an impact on Wall Street. And thus far, we've been fairly lucky, but these little dips could go even deeper if the president continues to dig a hole for himself. And I use the expression, if you're in a hole, stop digging. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to get out of that hole and come to a better place where he's on solid ground and pay attention to everything that he says and everything that he does.
Because the world is paying attention to everything that he says. Yes,
they are, absolutely.
Every day. Just every hour now. All right, Bill Smullen, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Rod?